Welcome, crustacean comrades, to another pirate video. Today, I bring to you a video book. Eh? That's right, my little crabby consortium. Master Crab 90 will read the journals of Glitterbeard in order, hopefully. So get yourself a nice hot cup of joe, or something to soothe yourself while you listen and watch Crabby read out the journals from the latest Sea of Thieves update, Glitterbeard. Yarr. Bang. Chapter 4 Lost and Found. It's been too long, a familiar voice called out as I entered the tavern. There was Richie, a little more grizzled, and with a fresh scar on his arm, but cheerful as ever. I agreed wholeheartedly with this, for I missed my friend and suggested that we head over to meet up with the others, although Richie was too excited for that. He had, he explained, become well known enough to the gold hoarders that they were trusting him to sail out in their steed and recover a key to one of their treasure vaults. Then, why are we just standing here? I asked, grinning. We sprinted to his sloop and gathered around the captain's table to vote, just like old times. Oh. As I worked the sails, I spotted the leering visage of Flameheart in the sky and burst out laughing as Richie, merry as ever, gave him the same cheerful wave he'd once given me. Alright, part 2. The gold hoarders may have wanted Richie's help, but they certainly hadn't made our lives any easier. There was no map to guide us this time. Instead, Richie had been loaned something Hugh called a golden wayfinder. It looked a bit like my old compass, but seemed to point any which way it pleased. Somehow, the little trinket seemed to know where fragments of the treasure vault map, torn up by the gold hoarders, once the vault was sealed, could be located. We didn't even need all the fragments to recognize the island where the vault key had been buried. Neither of us said as much, but we were both pretty pleased about that. Once we had the key aboard, I was plotting our course to an outpost where Richie gave me a prod. Treasure vaults, he said, eyes shining. Let's at least take a peek. I have to say, I wasn't totally sure about Richie's plan, but as he pointed out, if the gold hoarders were lacking the key to their vault, how could they know if we'd taken anything? When we finally did open the treasure vault, it was packed from floor to ceiling with plunder, obediently delivered by pirates to the gold hoarders over the years. I wasn't sure I liked seeing it all piled up like this. No one was admiring the gems, or saving it up to finance a new adventure, or even spending it to have a good time. What I liked even less was that the gold hoarders had booby-trapped the vault. Its huge door came slamming down. Trapped Richie inside while I banged helplessly on the stone. I knew he'd make his way back to the ferry soon enough, but seeing firsthand what the gold hoarders were capable of, well, it gave me a lot to think about. That was the last voyage I ever went on for the gold hoarders. Richie tried to laugh it off and said that he got what he deserved for stealing, but I'm not so sure. I'm Glitterbeard. I'm a pirate. I know the true value of gold. It's for spending with your friends, buying your crew a new set of sails. Almost burying your crew for a new set of sails. Buying your crew a new set of sails is for living. Who knows where it ultimately ends up? Not me. And I'm sure there are plenty of pirates who will always be happy to take their cut of a dead man's gold. No, I took a different treasure away from those gold holder voyages. I made a lifelong friend, and even on days my purse is empty, my heart will always be full. Chapter 5 A Strange Voyage. A Strange Voyage, Part 1. The Reaper's hideout was every bit as intimidating as I imagined it would be, built out of an old shipwreck and surrounded by watchtowers, cannons, and barricades. I had expected to be confronted by crews of belligerent Reapers, but the island's sole occupant was a robed masked figure. They introduced themselves as the Servant of the Flame. Not without some trepidation, I explained my desire to understand how the Reaper's bones had come to be and why they chose to prey on emissary ships. The trading companies are a disease, hissed the servant. They threaten our way of life, using pirates only as tools to their own ends, are never to be trusted. They continued in a calmer tone. The best way for you to understand the truth we hold dear is for you to sail as one of our number. Yes, so it shall be. You said calmer, so I went calm. Maybe I should have walked away when the servant spoke, but my own experiences with the trading company had sometimes given me the cause to doubt their motives. Now I found myself aboard a brigantine with Gustav and Rin, our Reaper's emissary flag shining proudly in the gloomy light of the wilds as we sought our first prey. My new crew were both in agreement. Pirates had always used cunning, trickery, and brute strength to fight for their freedom in a world that sought to chain the seas. They assured me that the Reaper's bonds offered no reward for seeking a ship that was not an emissary, and that they bore no real grudges against the pirates aboard them. Besides, Rin pointed out, cruel pirates who wished to settle a score or torment others for fun could do as much while flying any flag they wished. I had no answer to that. But always the glorious Reapers, mate. Gustav declared our first goal should be to increase our own emissary grade, as this would afford us insight into where other emissaries might be located. That includes other Reapers' ships, Rin added. Oh, don't look so surprised. There's no better way to improve your own skill than by fighting an equal. Secretly, I would have been rather relieved if our chosen target had been another member of the Reaper's Bones. They, at least, would have been eager to do battle. Worried that my friends might still be at Daggertooth, I convinced my crew that we should head to Sanctuary Outpost, in the Shores of Plenty, and they agreed. Upon arrival, we cast covert glances at the trading company tables, looking for evidence of emissaries. A gold hoarder crew, Rin commanded, was to be our first target. I had expected to end the day with my head hung low in shame, but if there's one thing that Sea of Thieves can do, it is endlessly surprise you. The gold hoarder emissaries we were chasing turned out to be an experienced galleon crew who had sailed over to attack us as soon as we got close. Not knowing my own strength, I accidentally sent Gustav hurtling into the sea with a misjudged blunderbomb. Luckily, he saw the funny side and still ribs me about it to this day. Our crews boarded each other's vessels. We knocked one another off ladders, shouted and cheered, laughed and cursed until eventually their broken flag was ours. Using bravery, guile, and courage, we had reached the 5th and highest grade. Now we could see the location of the last remaining merchant emissary, our final target. Chapter 6. An Unexpected Ending. Unexpected Ending, Part 1. Thanks to the Reaper's Bones, I had been cast into the middle of a voyage to scuttle trading company emissaries in the company of 2 unfamiliar pirates. I had assumed aspiring Reapers to be nothing but opportunistic cutthroats, but here I was, learning to that sail that the emissary took both courage and cunning. Now our last remaining target was in sight, flying a merchant emissary flag. If we could sink their ship, their broken cloth would be our final trophy of the day. We bore down upon their sloop mercilessly, using the wind in our twin sails to our advantage. Still, they were more nimble than we, and would be easy for them to slip away. Suddenly, the water ahead began to cloud, and both Gustav and Rin roared with laughter. Purely by chance, the unlucky sloop had strayed into the path of a kraken, thought by many in the wider world to be nothing but a sailor's story. I had long ago learned that krakens were very real indeed and extremely dangerous. Any ship attacked by a kraken would find itself surrounded by immense, slimy tentacles that could wrap the ship tightly or lash out to rupture the hull. Just as alarmingly, each tentacle possessed a maw of its own and would sometimes pluck a pirate right off the deck for a mid-battle snack. To make matters worse, the water near a kraken turned an inky black that would slow ships to a crawl, and other shipping sorts were stuck. All we had to do was wait. And wait we did, offering no help to the struggling sloop until its attacks eventually forced the kraken to retreat. Only then did our cannons ring out. Rin and Gustav suggested firmly that I should be the one to dive into the sea and claim the sloop's broken emissary flag. I agreed, but reluctantly. This felt like a cheap victory. Out of treading water, then our brigantine exploded. A tremendous fireball tore holes in our ship from bow to stern as I watched helplessly, unsure what, if anything, I could do. There was no saving the ship. I watched Lynn and Gustav depart in the company of merfolk as it sank without a trace, leaving only our own broken flag to bob on the waves. Only then did our rowboat emerge from behind the nearby rocks, its passenger now moving to claim our own flag. She stopped when she saw me, staring coldly. I stared back.
Wait a moment,
said Deadlot Charlotte slowly.
don't I know you?
I recognize Charlotte now. The interesting pirate who'd supplied me on my first ever cargo run. If I could have sunk to the seabed with embarrassment, I would have done. Charlotte, however, seemed to take our attack in her stride.
Everyone tries out the Reapers once,
she said airily.
Pity for you that I still had a stronghold keg aboard.
To prove there were no hard feelings, Charlotte allowed me to board her rowboat, and I kept her company as she turned the flag over to an impassive servant of the flame. Still feeling a little guilty, I told Charlotte about my treehouse and invited her to see it once it was complete. She said that she'd like that, and I believe she actually meant it. That, then, was my time as a reaper. At least now I understand the life they lead. I can even appreciate it to a degree. For me, though, I think that's once was more than enough.
And how do you like that? Thanks again, guys, for watching another vid. If you like what you saw, please hit the sub button and notifications if you want to be up to date for every week's content. And until next time, guys, Master Crabs, wang!